Charles, the Chiefs, bad team?
The defense is certainly bad, but I think for the Chiefs, I would go more just like extremely unlucky than straight up bad. I mean, obviously, like I don't think Mahomes has been as good as he was in previous years, and it's funny that when we're talking about a down Mahomes year, he's still performing like a top 10 quarterback, and the Chiefs are like breaking records in terms of how many first downs they're getting like on a per play basis. But these turnovers are just killing them. And I don't think that all of this is like replicable stuff that, when people say, oh, this team figures out the Chiefs, I don't think it's always that simple. I mean, you go back to the Buffalo game, they got a chance to get back into that game, and a pass hits Tyreek Hill right in the hands, goes to Buffalo, back for pick six. The next week, literally the same exact things happens. Ball goes through Tyreek Hill's hand again, Washington football player intercepts it. Then you have the crazy play where Mahomes like drops a snap and tries to throw out of it and throws a pick. And then, on Sunday versus Titans, I think there was a play where the pass was deflected and the linebacker barely dove and made the interception. So, some of that stuff is like, you can't really bank on that happening the rest of the way. So I think the offense is kind of going to figure itself out, but where they're going to get in trouble is that defense. I mean, it's, I think, inarguably the worst defense in the league. It's really deteriorated since that Super Bowl win against the 49ers a couple of years ago. And I think it's going to make it hard for them to advance in the postseason, because I still expect them to get there. I mean, this team just has too much talent not to make it to the postseason. But once they get there, it's going to be tough.
Charles, unlucky seems like a convenient excuse to explain away what's going on with the Kansas City Chiefs. It suggests that, because I didn't hear anyone say they were lucky when they were winning, and now it's unlucky when they're losing.
But Charles, when you're doing this, correct? When you're doing unlucky, it's not just some mystical mist. You're looking at numbers that tell you unlucky is math.
Well, yeah, and just in general, like when you think about turnovers throughout the course of a season, like these are pretty rare events that happen throughout the course of the game. So, when you look at it year by year or even game by game, it's kind of hard to like predict that teams are going to be turning the ball over a lot or not getting a lot of turnovers. Like at some point, those numbers are going to correct themselves a little bit. I mean, they're turning the ball over more than any team in the league. Like they have 5 more turnovers than the Jaguars. They have 17 turnovers this year. They had, I think, 16 all of last year. So it's just like uncharacteristically bad for them. And just like when you look at this offense, Mahomes, Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, the offensive line is better, but, they're maybe not as good as they would hope. But there's just still too much talent for this team not to make the postseason. And I just would kind of, if I was a betting man, I mean, I am. Last time we talked about my horrible record, but, I would bet on this team to figure it out before the playoffs start.
Well, tell us more about your horrible betting.
Quantify it.
Are you getting, yes, you're this guy who knows football. You've made a career around, I know the game, and you take this knowledge and you bet on the games and you stink.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, the dumbest thing I did, I think I bet on the Texans this week, because every time I see like these, 16, 17, 20-point spreads, I'm like, oh, come on. Like, these NFL teams, it's kind of hard where you see blowouts every week. It's hard to predict that blowouts are going to happen. So, I have taken the Texans a couple times this year when they're huge underdogs.
But
never
this is how a lot of people, this is what I think is happening to a lot of gamblers in football. I love watching this thing. The action is a great deal of fun. I have no idea what's happening out here except for the 6-0 Stu Gatz.
Thank you.
So even though I think that the Cardinals look undefeated great and Texans look like the worst team in the league, and even though I normally think no NFL team should be getting 17 points, I love Arizona to crush them, but football. But football, you give any team 17 points, and no matter what you think is going to happen in that game, football might happen. So the thing you think ends up being the opposite. You're just betting the opposite of the thing you think you know. The only thing you feel like is that football is going to be weird.
Right. I mean, look at the Lions covered a big number at the Rams. I mean, that's an example of this unpredictable league. I think I pick every game. I had a good week. I went 8-4-1 against the spread last week, but that's an anomaly. I'm getting my ass kicked this season. It's a tough year to predict. It's a tough sport to predict.
Unless you're Stugotz.
Unless you're me, Charles, you look good early on. Houston was up 5-0. I mean,
Yeah, I know. I was really hoping the game would end right there. And then, they kind of Houston's funny because they're kind of in this space like where mediocre college teams are. Like when you play like Alabama or Georgia, and you're kind of close for like the first quarter or 2 quarters, and then the talent starts playing out eventually. But I'll tell you what, the worst pick I had this weekend, I went like all in on the Panthers to cover against the Giants. I looked at the Giants injury report, no Saquon, no Sterling, no Kenny Galladay.
Yep.
Pretty sure Kadarius Toney was out this week, and they were like 3-point dogs at home, and I hammered the Panthers, and they got absolutely destroyed. So I covered the Jets for 2 years, so I don't know why I decided to put my money on Sam Darnold, and I hope that's the last time I decide to do that.
to Dan's point, football.
You say that though, but when you have one of the societal stories here, and now the reports are coming out from all over, Charles, that Carolina's in the desperate game on Deshaun Watson, that they're going to actually be bidders for an alleged sexual predator. The idea that Carolina thought 4 games ago that Sam Arnold was the answer. Sam Darnold was the answer.
$2.
So he's playing like Sam Arnold.
Yes.
If you're saying he's the answer, now a month later you're so desperate that you might get in the Deshaun Watson game, like what are we doing with this analysis? This is supposed to be the franchise that's ahead on analytics and scheming, and their owner's desperate, and they're like, oh, never mind, Sam Darnold. We did that. That worked for 3 games. We're out after a month.
Yeah, and I mean, the Sam Darnold stuff, it kind of goes back to last year where, they hire Matt Rule and you get into, I think, like a 7-year contract. And for some reason, like right off the bat, like they're trying to hit fast forward on this rebuild for really no reason. Like instead of just kind of punting, 2020, and if Matt Rule is supposed to be this great culture guy, maybe you can survive not having, a super viable team. You get back into the draft this year, maybe the first or second pick, and you can kind of get who you want in the draft. But then you sign Teddy. Teddy does what Teddy does. He doesn't get you to the playoffs, but he also doesn't get you the first pick in the draft. And then you have to come up with option 2. If you don't like Justin Fields, what's option 3? Deshaun Watson, he's got some shit going on. So what's option 4? Sam Darnold. And it just kind of goes back to, we talk about the Panthers. They're smart and they're forward thinking, but I think this run has kind of been defined by impatience at the quarterback position, which has kind of left them in no man's land now.
Charles,
I'm with you, Dan.
I'm with you. You said something that I can't let pass because it's the best football analysis I've ever heard on this show.
It's also very rare where you and I have the exact same reaction.
Yes, we knew exactly what he was saying when he said, and Teddy's going to do what Teddy does, which is just sort of like, I hate watching it, and it's not going to win anything, and I'm not going to be terrible. I'm going to be competent, and God damn it, every once in a while, I'm going to give you an 18-play drive that goes 71 yards, and it's going to be Teddy doing what Teddy does.
Yeah, and like the same thing happened to the Broncos this year. Like you look at their roster, you're like, hey, this is as good as any team in the division. Then you look at quarterback, like, oh, it's Teddy. Like he's fine, but he's Teddy.
Make your case for Jamar Chase being the MVP of the league.
That wasn't his case. That was Mike Ryan's case.
No, but I think Charles tweeted something about Jamar Chase asking the question. No?
No. I mean, I think he's great, but I don't think he's the MVP.
What happened there?
I don't know what happened there.
You happened there.
You guys misread something on the bottom of the research sheet?
I did, yeah. $5. Charles, excuse me. Let me find myself. I owe $5.
I know you don't have it today.
But can you make a case for Jamar Chase being the MVP?
Yeah.
No.
Good.
That is somebody who does know the show. That is somebody.
Here's my $5.
Yes, I can make the case. I'll talk to you down by the water cooler.
I think you already made it. I wasn't listening.
Water cooler.
Did you want to finish your point, or Stugotz got? It's rare when Stugotz finds himself and then he's really wrong when he finds himself and just throws the $5 out there.
Charles, do you have anything on Jamar Chase?
He's amazing.
Thank you. Boom.
Okay, is that all you wanted?
There's the boom. Yes, thank you. Actually, give me the $5 that you stole.
I get it back.
Charles, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate it.
Talk to you guys next time.
Boom.